Welcome back to another deep dive. We're really thrilled to have you here with us today.
Absolutely. It's a great topic today.
It is. And to start, let's just drop right into the room. Picture this. You are stepping off the chaotic, noisy streets of New York City and descending into a pulsating, neon-lit underground venue.
Oh, yeah. That immediate sensory overload.
Exactly.
Mm.
The bass is so heavy, it's literally vibrating straight through the soles of your shoes. The crowd is parting, and they're creating this spontaneous runway. And right in the center of it all is a performer who commands the entire room's attention without uttering a single syllable.
Which takes an unbelievable amount of presence.
Right. Today, we're taking you straight into the beating heart of New York City's underground ball culture and nightlife, zeroing in on the history of voguing and drag performance art.
It's a world that operates on an incredibly high frequency of creativity. And, it requires a level of stamina and architectural precision that is rarely understood by anyone who's just looking at it purely from the outside.
Yeah, the sheer physical and artistic demands of that club space are just monumental.
They really are.
And to guide us through those demands, we have a very specific mission today. We are pulling from a really fascinating Wikipedia article focused on one iconic individual, Kim Aviance.
A true legend.
Oh, completely. And our goal for you, our resident learner, is to explore how this single artist manages to bridge the massive gap between marginalized communities, high-end commercialism, and just sheer creative survival.
And we're going to be looking at the intense theoretical and classical roots that anchor all that glamour.
Right, because it's not just glitter and lights.
No, not at all. And it serves as a brilliant case study because so often the broader public perception of a nightlife queen is stripped of its academic or technical weight.
It's like people think they just show up and dance.
Exactly. There's this tendency to view performers in these spaces purely as spontaneous entertainers, like people who simply put on a stunning outfit and let the music take over.
Which is part of the illusion, right?
It is the illusion. But the sources we're unpacking today reveal a foundation that is deeply deliberate, it's rigorous, and it is steeped in formal tradition.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the very first detail we learn about Kim Aviance completely shatters that exact stereotype.
It really does.
The article describes her as a New York nightlife queen, a performance and visual drag artist, and a nightclub hostess. But the detail that completely recontextualizes her entire body of work
This is the best part.
is that Kim Aviance is a classically trained dancer and musician.
Which changes the entire lens through which we view her presence on the floor.
100%.
What's fascinating here is how that classical foundation rewrites the script on the underground club performer. The club space is often assumed to be this realm of pure, unbridled chaos or just amateur expression.
Right, like anyone could just jump up and do it.
But here you have an artist bringing a highly disciplined, rigid level of formal conservatory training to her performances. She is applying the exact same discipline required of a classical musician and a classical dancer to her identity in the club space.
While navigating that environment as a gender non-conforming and trans-appearing artist,
Yes,
it really forces you to look at the physical execution of her movements differently.
it has to.
You realize that the extension of an arm, the pacing of a step, or even just the framing of a pose, it isn't just a spontaneous reaction to a house beat.
No, it's backed by years of grueling formal study.
Right. She is literally translating the precision of a symphony or a ballet into the visual language of the underground. And she carries the weight of a legendary lineage onto that floor, too.
The house system.
Exactly. The source notes she's part of the House of Aviance, standing alongside Mother Juana Aviance, who founded the house, and formidable members like Nita, Erica Tor, and Jean-Philippe.
And carrying that Aviance name onto the floor isn't just about personal glory. It's about adding to a very established, highly scrutinized legacy. In this queer subcultural universe, the house structure is the bedrock of survival and artistic mentorship. It's a chosen family.
A chosen family that demands excellence.
Absolutely. When Kim Aviance performs, she's an ambassador for that collective history. The classical training she possesses elevates not just her own standing, but the reputation of the entire House of Aviance every single time she steps out.
And that concept of reputation is the absolute currency of this world. which leads us perfectly into the academic framework that the article presents.
Because the ballroom isn't just an aesthetic movement, it's a
Right.
complex sociological environment.
Yeah, and the article introduces the perspective of researcher Madison Moore, who provides this incredibly sharp analysis of what is actually happening when performers like Kim Aviance take the floor.
Moore's work is essential here.
I'm going to quote Moore's research directly for you. Moore says, quote, "Voguing, a dance form often tied to marginalized brown communities, and the runway, which is of course tied to high-end commercialism and the sale of expensive commodities, is a ripe theoretical intersection," end quote.
Moore nails it there. That ripe theoretical intersection is the immense friction between the reality of marginalized brown communities and the high-end illusion of the runway.
That's a huge contrast.
It is. You have a dance form forged by people who were historically pushed to the very margins of society. And they are utilizing that form to perfectly embody and simultaneously critique the absolute pinnacle of global wealth and exclusivity.
It is a total masterclass in subversion.
Yeah, and Moore elaborates on the internal mechanics of the space, too. The research points out that in the ballroom, movement is certainly creative, but it's also a means to its own end.
What does that mean exactly in this context?
Well, in the mainstream commercial world, performance is often a vehicle to acquire something else, like a paycheck, a corporate sponsorship, or validation from traditional gatekeepers.
Right, you perform to get famous outside the club.
Exactly. But the ball world operates as its own enclosed universe. As Moore notes, reputations are at stake, and it's important to give a good performance on the ball floor. The ball is not a stepping stone.
It is the ultimate destination.
Precisely.
That is wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
They bypassed the mainstream gatekeepers of Milan and Paris entirely, and they minted their own currency of status right there on the ball floor.
And that currency is respect. It's undeniable talent and delivering a flawless performance that your peers simply cannot ignore.
They built an entirely self-sustaining economy of art that requires zero validation from the outside world.
Which requires an immense amount of internal fortitude. It's a world with its own rigid criteria for excellence, its own royalty, its own historical archives. And for an artist to thrive within it, they have to constantly innovate while respecting the theoretical weight of what they are doing.
So let's look at exactly how an artist like Kim Aviance manifests that theoretical weight into physical reality. Because the source gives us an incredibly specific, highly vivid moment from the year 2006 that captures this intersection perfectly.
Yeah, this is a great example.
It really is. So let's drop right into the room. It's a newly renovated venue called Element. The year is 2006, and we are at a specific club night called Bank.
Run by Larry T. and Josh Wood.
Yeah.
And the environmental context of Bank in 2006 is essential to understand. This was a space demanding high energy and cutting-edge visual presentation.
The bar was set very high.
Very high.
And the audio backdrop for the night is being provided by performer Paul Alexander. He's singing his dance track called Walk For Me, which the source explicitly describes as an ode to the ballroom scene.
A classic.
Yeah. And the lyrics included in the article set a very specific, demanding tone. Alexander sings, "I want you to take to the catwalk, darling. You sure look gorgeous. Walk for body, walk for face. Walk it and snatch first place. Walk for me."
Those lyrics are not merely a suggestion.
No, they sound like an order.
They are a directive. Walk for body, walk for face requires the performer to project an absolute mastery of their physical form and their aesthetic illusion. It's a direct command to deliver that high fashion fantasy, which demands the exact kind of classical control and rigorous precision we were just talking about.
Right. So the track is pounding, the crowd is hyped, the lyrics are demanding a flawless catwalk.
And then Kim Aviance delivers a stroke of absolute genius.
She doesn't just strut across the traditional stage. She gets onto an exercise treadmill.
A treadmill?
Yes. The article states she proceeded to vamp and vogue, working the mundane exercise machine like a high-fashion catwalk, exactly as if she were in a highly competitive ball contest.
It is just a breathtaking artistic choice. If we connect this back to the broader picture, back to Madison Moore's theory, this is the ultimate physical manifestation of that ripe theoretical intersection.
It's almost of a visual pun, isn't it?
It is.
You have the ultimate symbol of the exhausting daily grind. A piece of gym equipment literally designed for running in place. And she's using it to deliver this flawless illusion of untouchable wealth and status.
It forces the audience to look directly at the labor behind the glamour. The treadmill represents work. It represents exertion, routine, and the physical toll of everyday life.
Yeah.
By repurposing that specific object into a stage for high-end glamour, she captures the essence of the marginalized experience. She's literally walking in place, which is a powerful metaphor for the societal friction and the systemic hurdles marginalized communities face in trying to move forward.
Wow, yes.
Yet she is executing this walk with such immense style, classical power, and unbothered control that she completely transforms the machinery. She forces the treadmill to become the runway.
She dominates it.
She embodies the collision of everyday societal struggle in expensive, untouchable fashion.
She takes a symbol of going nowhere and makes it the gravitational center of the room. It is literally theory in motion.
Yeah.
High art executed in a nightclub.
Exactly.
But that underlying theme of struggle, that metaphor of walking against a moving belt just to stay in place, that is deeply rooted in the very real dangers that this community navigates daily.
It is.
Because as joyous and triumphant as these performances are, the source material grounds us in a sobering reality.
It's crucial to examine the full context of this subculture. The chosen family of the house system and the sanctuary of the club, they don't exist in a vacuum. They exist against a continuous backdrop of real-world danger and systemic violence directed at queer and trans individuals.
Right. And the source details another incredibly poignant performance by Kim Aviance that highlights this. This event took place at a venue called The Cock, alongside an artist named Ari Gold.
And the timing is critical here.
It is. This occurred during LGBTQ Pride Week. But this was not a standard celebratory booking. This was a benefit.
It was a benefit organized through the Anti-Violence Project for fellow House of Aviance member Kevin Aviance, who had been the victim of a horrific anti-gay assault.
The stark contrast is just chilling. You have these performers who are literal royalty inside the walls of the club, who are creating these untouchable theoretical masterpieces on treadmills.
Yeah.
But the moment they step off the stage and out onto the street, even during Pride Week, a time meant for visible celebration.
They are vulnerable to severe targeted violence simply for existing.
Exactly.
That reality underscores why the ballroom scene and the house system were constructed in the first place. When we talk about this being a self-contained, queer, subcultural universe, we have to recognize that this universe was built out of absolute necessity.
It's survival.
It is a vital mechanism of collective resilience. The club isn't just a venue, it's a fortress. When Kevin Aviance is attacked, the community does not wait for outside intervention.
They handle it themselves.
They rally internally, they weaponize their art, their classical training, and their voguing to raise funds, demand awareness, and protect their own lineage. The glamour they project is a highly constructed shield, and the performance itself is a loud, unapologetic declaration of survival.
The resilience required to maintain that level of artistry in the face of such hostility is staggering to think about. Every extension on the runway, every beat of the track is a celebration of life in a world that can be deeply dangerous.
It's an act of defiance.
It is. And what is so striking about Kim Aviance is her unyielding endurance through all of these shifting landscapes. The source traces a timeline of her career that proves her staying power across multiple, highly distinct eras of New York nightlife.
Which is no small feat. The nightlife ecosystem is notoriously fickle.
Oh, incredibly.
Venues close, trends die, and new crowds cycle through constantly. To maintain a commanding presence in that environment for over a decade requires an immense capacity for adaptability, without ever losing that core theoretical foundation.
Let's look closely at that timeline, because the diversity of the venues speaks volumes. We already explored the high-concept kinetic energy of Banquet Element in 2006.
Right.
But stepping back to 2005, she was the featured dancer for Suzanne Bartsch and Kenny's massive party at Happy Valley.
Okay, yes. This was the era of the mega club.
Sprawling, excessive, and visually overwhelming spaces where a performer has to project their energy to the back of a massive room.
And commanding a mega club requires a very specific, highly amplified type of performance. But then you see her shift gears entirely.
Right, because the timeline jumps to 2012. And here she is hosting the underground tea dance party run by Twitch Productions.
Now, a tea dance carries an entirely different historical and atmospheric weight in queer culture. It's traditionally an afternoon or early evening event. It's often much more intimate and community-focused than a 3 a.m. mega club set.
It's a totally different vibe.
Completely. The fact that she can pivot from the sprawling excess of Happy Valley to the historical intimacy of a tea dance shows incredible range.
It really does. She understands the sociological requirements of each unique room.
Yes.
Then, in 2013, she is hosting Taylor Scott's The Underground Party at the Rosewood Club. And by 2014, she's headlining Click Fridays at BPM, which is a venue known for its highly polished, modern, tech-heavy environment.
So from the mega clubs of 2005 to the afternoon tea dances of 2012 to the high-tech Friday nights of 2014.
She is a constant, stabilizing thread weaving through the tapestry of the city.
She is essentially providing architectural support to the scene. She brings that classical rigor and that deep lineage for every single one of those distinct spaces. She isn't merely adapting to the changing trends, she is anchoring them.
She's the foundation.
She serves as a foundational pillar that entirely new generations of clubgoers and emerging performers get to witness, study, and learn from.
So, what does this journey mean for you as you navigate your own understanding of culture and art?
That's the big question.
Whether you are studying the history of performance or just observing the aesthetics of modern pop culture, there is a massive takeaway here. It's the profound realization that spaces of marginalized joy, like the ball floor, are fiercely and intentionally built.
They aren't accidents.
No. They're built on a foundation of rigorous classical talent. They're built on brilliant theoretical subversion, turning symbols of exhaustion like a treadmill into pedestals of high fashion. And crucially, they are built on an unbreakable network of community resilience that mobilizes to protect its own when the outside world proves hostile.
It challenges all of us to look much closer at the art forms and the aesthetics we consume. It demands that we recognize the rigorous history, the academic theory, and the sheer survival tactics embedded in a seemingly simple dance move, a runway walk, or a club lyric.
It completely elevates the conversation. And while that brings us to the end of the sources we are unpacking today, it is certainly not the end of the thought process.
No, because this exploration raises a vital question we want to leave you with today.
Let's hear it.
If we connect everything we've discussed, the fact that the ballroom floor was created as a fiercely self-contained queer subcultural universe to mimic and subvert high-end commercialism, what happens to that sacred protected space when mainstream commercialism eventually catches on?
Oh, that's a tough one.
When the mainstream music and fashion industries co-opt and sell those exact same voguing movements and runway aesthetics back to the global masses, what is the impact?
Does it ruin it?
That's the question. Does that mainstream visibility and commercialization dilute the foundational power of the art? Or does it simply force the underground to evolve, subvert again, and invent the next unassailable movement?
That is a phenomenal question to chew on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary career of Kim Aviance and the enduring architecture of the ballroom scene.
It's been a great discussion.
We love tearing into these sources with you, and we cannot wait to see you back here for our next exploration. Until then, keep digging deeper.